I'm not suggesting the reptilians are the good guys, but I suggest what they do is in fact an inadvertent valuable service. They may lack the awareness to consider what they are doing to be anything else than thrill-seeking and boredom-alleviating, but what they do, and individuals like them, is bring us through the epochs, and afford us all, them included, all the experience we require. For remember, the is granted a little karma to each individual fresh into the golden epoch, and I suggest this was of such a nature that individuals that would become the reptilian controllers were very likely to be created, and if they were not, as everyone has free will to decide and choose anything, then the golden epoch may have stuttered and stalled. But as animal forms are just awareness, with enough attitude to take them along the lines of predator or prey, it is only at the point where free will is afforded, with the body types that have this, that the epochs could have stalled in their onward progression. As the crocodiles become the reptilians, they may have been primed to conquer, primed to dominate. But imagine if they'd all changed their minds and decided differently. Then we'd have no bad guys, no restriction, no cause and effect agreed to demise, and the epochs remain at the silver. And if we have then a universe, a creation of lovely species all getting along, then we have no epoch deterioration. And I suggest then experience is diminished to the point where maybe everyone would remain quite happily, I might add, in creation. For if it is a lovely place and stays such, where is the incentive to leave? As incentive plays a role, and the dire circumstances of the Iron Epoch are such that it is more than an incentive to want to get out. I'm suggesting then that the is created creation as it did, as an experience-generating simulator, that it primed all individuals fresh into the golden age with karma to kick everything off, and that it gave certain individuals the karma experience most likely to instill the sort of attitudes that have them becoming the predators in the animal kingdoms, then the intergalactic reptilian predators of creation. And all for the purpose of getting the epochs moving through the 4 cycles, to afford all the experience everybody needs, reptilians and humans alike, for is recognitional purposes through the comparisons. And here we all stand, at the implosion of the final epoch, the reptilian bad guys established and brandished as such, the good guys as the oppressed humans, and others fighting the control that the reptilians represent. And yet the ears looks down upon all with indifference, at all the experience, regardless of its nature, for what it is, just experience. I might surmise that up until now we have learned how the karma, or the effect, is in measure to the cause, and the more abrasive and awareness restricting are our creations for others, the more we have karmic burden of an equally distorted nature. I suspect this model may be accurate, but I suspect it is only so because it is once again universally decided and agreed upon that your punishments, your effects or experiences are dire if your causes are also dire. And here we have the lords of karma establishing themselves to meter out this apparent justice, to subject reptilians to severe lifetimes and thousands of years in purgatory for their crimes and decisions and deeds. The lords of karma decided and assumed their position as any other. It had to be based on agreement, or it could not feature in the experience of everyone, all the unaware that pass over. And indeed, if we decide, we don't even need to be before the lords of karma, even with unawareness and no is connection, if we did but know the power of our decision-making in the forging of our experience. So evidently this agreement has been planted the length and breadth of creation, that every individual who passes over has their fate dictated to, and off they go. In theory, the lords of karma are simply telling an individual what it has already decided experientially for itself. But the unaware would assume this to be fate bestowed upon them. And the ears looks indifferently on, caring not as to the severity of the choices and decisions. And yet, when we do what is an abrasive act, it results in experience more severe than what we may call a good act. This would make sense, as what we align with features in our experience. Like attracts like, and we can expect then foul deeds to align ourselves with projected future positions in maybe the foul lower astral. So I suppose it isn't so much of an agreement to a system that measures effect with the cause, but simply decisions that have us aligning with effects that equal the cause. In a previous show, I suggested how with certain attitudes and ideas we can filter out the full spectrum of potential experiential information and decode into our experience only that which is in alignment with the attitude or idea. But it makes you wonder, if some of the karmic consequences are not as dire as we assume will be the fate of the controllers. If a controller reptilian ends up in the lower astral, well, isn't this the kind of place a reptilian would like to be? And when reptilians are taken away by the reptilians when they transition, isn't this in fact agreeable to the new reptilian recruits? I suppose only if they knew that what they were doing was making themselves assume such a position. Some were evidently rather shocked, like Marjorie Clemp. Then again, it's only her personal self that would have been surprised. Her other life-level vehicle selves must have known and went along with it. For them, being taken away by the reptilians wouldn't be such a bad deal, therefore, and was expected. And if all these reptilians were indeed primed to become such, due to this little karmic gift from the ears, can we really blame them? Everybody chooses and decides, but if individuals spent most, if not all of the body forms, as alligators and predatory creatures, with the attitudes to match, and in a state of awareness as animals are, they cannot be responsible for going along whatever routes of species they do. They simply are, and are in keeping with the attitudes they seem to have, and been initially granted with. And if then the reptilians can be argued as in fact providing a service to afford us all experiences more so by bringing us through the epochs, then maybe the karma they receive for their ill deeds isn't as bad as we might think. Yes, the experiences might be harsh in keeping with their attitudes, but like the alligator eating the fluffy bunny, can we really blame it? Are the effects extra bad for the ill deeds the reptilians choose to exact? Unless there is indeed an agreement that is prevalent in all species, including the reptilians, that if you're bad, you get bad karma, and if agreed with, perhaps this is what exaggerates the experience, the effect, and the future dire lifetime. You could wrap this up by surmising that creation always needs the bad guys. It always needs individuals that will, through their decisions and creations, and agreement from the species that are their prey, bring about the restrictions necessary to move the epochs along to the final iron epoch, and have us all brimming with all the experience references we require. And now we all stand here, and if we all connect with our real awareness, and decide to put all our references and comparisons to use, we can potentially all step into the new nowness of the ears, reptilians and humans alike. For if we stand objective, if we regard everything with detached indifference, we should not be in a place where we are labelling individuals as good or bad. simply regarding how it is all experience, and we all needed every drop of it. And now, if we are all sensible and embrace our real awareness, we can possibly now cease the creational demise. Reptilians can stop the suppression and constriction. We can all connect to our real awareness and sever all agreements, and as creation is poised on its demise, the epoch progression can cease, and we can afford all the time we need for us all to recognize the ears right here, reptilians, humans, and all species. Of course, if reptilians continue to be silly, then they've gone beyond their possible role of experience providing through epoch transition deterioration, and can expect a little time in the phantom zone.